just getting ready to do some work in my car, and I want to cover a couple of things first before I get started, and that is around safety. Just please be very careful when you're working on cars, especially, there's just lots of areas that can cause problems. One thing you want to make sure is, never depend upon your jack to hold up a vehicle. Get you some jack stands. Get you a wheel chock to hold the front and the back tires. I use one. If you want to use multiple, that's certainly area for safety. Hearing protection, especially if you certainly want eye protection as well at all times, and gloves. I use these nitrate throwaways, and I'll usually put another pair on with them just to. Alrighty, getting ready to do a tune-up on my 2003 Ford Expedition. This is a 4.6 engine, so just have to make sure and show you how I did it. Certainly don't recommend it. Don't think you feel like you're competent doing this. I understand, because so I'm gonna replace the coil, the coils that fit on top of the plugs. That's the first one there, so that's the number 1 cylinder, and then 2, 3, 4 on this side, and then 5, 6, and 7, and 8 back that way. So first couple ones don't look too bad. The ones back in the back do not excite me, but sure I'll have to climb up in here to get to that. So what I'll do is I'm going to remove this and these pieces, just get them out of our way. Hopefully that's all I have to take off. We'll just have to see how we go, but that's my plan as of right now. The other thing is I am by myself, so what I normally do is I will tell you what I'm getting ready to do, like now, and then I will do it, and then I'll come back at the next step, and I'll let you know if I had any difficulties along the way prior to that, just so you can be aware in case you decide to do something like this one day. Anyway, the parts were fairly cheap. It's like I don't know. Got the coil sets, I think, for $30-something, and the plugs were like $4 each. I got all of that plugs, and we got Denso on the coil, so all of that coils were quite at least double the cost, so I went with that brand. Anyway, I'll get back with you as I get once I get to the next stage. All right, just let you know, there's 2 12mm bolts that fit on top of this cowling here, and then take those off, and then there's 2 little push connector things here. This just pops off once you get there's one there, and then there's one of them back in this area here. So there's only 2 of those. So take those 2 off, and then just pull up hard, and it comes off. I don't know if I'm going to have to take the breather tube off or not, but I may end up having to take the power steering piece off, and one more on that side. On this side, cylinder number 1, this is that is a 7mm. So a 7mm bolt, right, watch it, right there, okay? And then you just unscrew that guy, take him off, and then hopefully after that you can pull out that coil, and it's long, I'll tell you that. So hopefully, I'm hoping I don't have to take this fuel rail off. This is the rail where fuel comes into the fuel injectors, which are sitting down here. You can see that. So that I may have to take that off as well to get to some of these. I don't know. We'll have to see. But right now my plan is not. So again, just plan on you take these off, and then I finally got to get loose. Let's see if that'll come out of there underneath that fuel rail. Before I do that, what I'm going to do is get my air and blow out all this air. You certainly don't want anything falling down. It's a pretty deep hole in there, so when you take that coil off, and then eventually take the plug out, sitting underneath it in the hole, you don't want anything to fall in that cylinder, because if it does, that's pretty much instant death for the engine. So I'm going to blow all that out really well before I start pulling those things off. and then I'll get back with you later. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick update of where I am. I have removed the coil packs from cylinders 1, 2, and 3, and I'm working on 4. And it is difficult to get to. I'm not going to say it's not. So it's way back there. Let's see if I can kind of back in that area back there. If you can see the end of my wrench, you probably can't. But so I've got my socket on it here. I've got a universal joint on the bottom so I can get some bend on it. And so now I'm just backing out the screw till I can get it out. Then I get my hand back in there and remove it. So, but they come out pretty easily. First thing you want to do is, they have these little electrical plugs on them. So you want to take those out first before you do anything. That'll give you a little bit more room to work on. And on the back side of them, let's see if I can turn one over. I don't know that I got enough room, but yeah, there we go. You got a little lip right there, a little thing you press up on. So it's sitting in here like that. Just put your finger on it, press up, push in a little bit, and then pull it out, okay? And it comes right out. All right, got the plug out for the number 1 cylinder. Kind of wanted you to see this. That was kind of the contraption I ended up using to get it out. So this shows you how deep this thing is. This pretty much goes all the way in. So you're, what, 6 inches or so from that coil pack up. The plugs are only about 50,000 miles, but since I've been here working on this coil that failed on me, I'm just changing that as well. Changing them all out as well. So they don't look that bad. They got a little bit of a part of the tip burn off, but the one that's got this, these new ones today have like a rubber seal inside of there, and it helps hold the plug in. So once it gets it, it's going to come out with it. So that's good, and vice versa when it goes back in. So those are good. You definitely want a little swivel thing here because you're not always lined up perfectly. You don't want to break one of these damn things. So just be real careful. Make sure you got that. Come out slowly. Listen, feel. Same thing, you go back in, you put it back in there. Do it by hand for a few revs until you're for sure it's going in correctly. You don't want any cross threading going on. I'm going to put some anti-seize on mine before they go back in. I don't think these had any, and they were pretty tough to get out of there, so I'm going to go back in with some anti-seize. These are platinums. I'm going in with the iridiums. I can't remember now what the word is now, but so hopefully that'll be good now. The other thing is, I have heard, haven't had any problem with these. Were in there really tight, so this was done by my mechanic before I started working on the car. But I think Ford recommends about a, I don't know, 13-15 foot-pound torque. As you can see, there's not a lot of that plug in that cylinder, so about half of it looks like it's being screwed down before it stops. There have been instances where these things have blown out because they've become loose. So some folks I've read, they say double the torque, so go about a 25 to 30 foot-pound on them, so to prevent that from happening. So I'll just throw that out there for you. You can take it for what it's worth. All right, as I promised, things are going well. I've got 1, 2, and 3 in. I'm working on, got number 4 out and getting ready to tighten it up. I don't know if you can see back in there or not where the end of my screwdriver is. That's where that sucker is located, so it's way, 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 way back there, okay? I don't know that I could have gotten it out personally without use of my, this is a air wrench, so I've got it hooked up to my air hose here. I weaved it through here, so now it's sitting on that plug. I'm getting ready to tighten it up. So that was, you know, I couldn't quite figure out any way to get a wrench up in it, and I'm sure there is a way. I'm not really strong, so that'd probably been another problem getting it out once I got a wrench on it. But anyway, that the air wrench worked, at least getting it out, so I'm assuming it's going to work getting it in. But just want to let you see that in case you want to do something similar setup as that is, okay? All right, as I said, I'm installing Denso coil packs. So that's the number on those, and that's what they look like. And then, you know, I would prefer to put Autolite Motorcraft back on here, but you know, it's 60, 70 bucks a pop. You know, I guess the car's got 250,000 miles on it, so you know, if these will last, who knows how much longer the thing's gonna last on this thing. But Denso is was actually used to be Toyota's version of Motorcraft. So I'm assuming we get good parts here. Anyway, so that's kind of what they look like. That'll fit down on top of your plug once you get it back in there. You need to put some dielectric grease in there. These come with some already. I'm putting some more on it just to help seal it up again before I put it in, and then we'll be done with it. So once I get this one, this is the last one for number 1 cylinder, and then I'll be through with this side. Just a matter of tightening things up and putting things back together. And then we'll get started on the driver's side. All right, I'm getting started on the driver's side now. So, me being a minimalist, in other words, I'm going to try to take off as absolute less as I can. First thing I'm going to do though is take off this bracket here that goes from the power steering unit, and just take him off. There's 3 little bolts, and I think they're, I don't remember, probably 8mm bolts. So just take it off, get it out of your way, because right there is 1, and right there is 2 of them. So by getting him off, you got 2 of them really easy. The 3rd one's right there, and the 4th one's right there. So by the way it looks right now, the driver's side is going to be 1,000 times easier than the passenger side. So you may want to start on the driver's side to get your confidence up if you tried to do this. Alright, thought I'd give you some idea. At least on this side you can actually see down there and see your plug. So if you can, hope you can make that out by where my light is shining there. So that's the number 5 cylinder. That's the one that threw the code on me. That the car had, or that the engine had detected a misfire. So that's what started me on this search anyway, of replacing the coil, because that is coil pack is one of the issues with coil packs, is you know, one of the problems that happen. So anyway, so that's kind of where I am. I just wanted you to see that you can actually see down there and how deep those things are, how deep those plugs are inside of the engine area there. So not like the old days when they were right easy to get to, and kind of a pleasure. I did end up on a couple of wires. This one here I took off a vacuum hose there, kind of thing, so just to make it a little bit easier. This little the very back right there for that coil pack was a little bit difficult to get to. You just got this fuel rail coming in here, so it was kind of hard to get in there and then to get it out, just because of all that other parts, I mean, where the fuel line's coming in. But got it out, so hopefully this has got them all out, matter of fact, and get it all blown out again.